y'all, we're back. We're trying to do this again. We had a whole lot of technical issues. And Sharice, when you watch this, I want you to know I'm blaming you. You are one of the people that I am blaming for this because you said, it was your mouth who said, hey, y'all ain't gonna start till 8 o'clock. Lo and behold, Sharice, it's doggone after 8 and we get ready to get started. So we're doing a little cold open so I can get some things together and you know, invite people in and all that garbage that I have to do.
Speaking of the holidays, what food are y'all excited for?
Dressing.
Ooh, this was horrible.
Real good mac and cheese. The dressing, yes. Not stuffing. There's a difference.
Dressing.
There's a difference.
Yeah, because I
I don't eat either.
And ham, because I don't eat it typically throughout the year.
Mm-hmm.
So Thanksgiving, Christmas, I'm usually looking for some ham. Like, we got some ham.
Okay.
Ham is also disgusting. I don't use ham for that.
See, I wish we would have met before. I ended up throwing out half a ham last year because I'm the only one that eats it.
Oh, wow.
You know what I did though? Last year, I wanted ham. So, you know, in the store they actually sell like the ham, the slice. Like, it's like a big piece. And I threw it in the oven, so we'll go away.
Okay.
One different ideas on how to save ham. We don't
And they
need
have bone in it too, so.
Okay.
She don't need no ideas on how to save nasty ham.
Because somebody had someone that tried to coerce me into that little canned ham, and I was like,
Oh,
It was not me.
blasphemous.
I've seen it before. I have had it before too, like when I was a kid. It's like in a little tin,
You
you
like,
open it, has a little key, you open
I
it.
seen it, but I ain't never
I
tried
seen
it
it.
before.
I have had it before. I have.
It's spam.
No,
I
it
had it
actually,
once. I had the one I ate
Well,
was spam.
let me say this. I know
Spam, so I don't know what it is.
my grandmother
Is it
has.
spam?
Oh, God has blessed you. You don't understand how much God has favored and blessed your life.
I never had spam before.
Now I ain't gonna hold y'all. I bought some spam like earlier this year because I hadn't had it in forever. So
Why would you do that to yourself?
Because I wanted to eat some. I hadn't eaten it since
I
I
am
was
praying
kid.
for you.
So
I'm praying.
honestly, when I first started cooking, spam was one of the first things I cooked because I liked it. So when I would make my like Saturday breakfast, I learned how to scramble eggs. This was like elementary school, and I liked spam. I would take my spam, cut it up, put it in the skillet. I had some eggs and spam. That was like, and some tang. That was my jam, you know.
Yeah.
Like,
Dang, I forgot all about that.
Tang is great. And that's the first good thing of all this time you've been setting up that you've said that I'm like, I can get down with Tang. I love me some Tang. Tang was what we call fancy Kool-Aid. See, I was broke. Y'all understand?
so if you drink tang, you must like Tampico punch.
Yes, I do. Oh my God. The Lord has the flesh and blood had not revealed this to you, but my Father in heaven has given, Shabo, has given you the knowledge to know exactly just how good stuff is.
It's
so
thick. It is.
Ooh.
And don't forget delicious.
It's
Don't
like
forget.
BBL thick.
Right. That's
I
gonna be
am
a
so
tag
mad
for
at
this
you for that.
podcast.
I
like
so
that.
mad at you for that.
I like
He
that.
said it's BBL
It is. It's like, girl, now you were just drinking it. But now,
That's why my
I
Sunny
don't know.
Delight.
It's like,
Sunny Delight is the cut. If you have a little bit more money, you would buy Sunny Delight.
Right.
Sunny Delight's not that great. I'll drink Sunny Delight, but I'm not.
No.
I would rather, if I had to choose between Tampico and Sunny Delight, I'd give you Tampico all day long.
You will drink Tampico punch but won't eat a taco. What? That's right. Make.
It already makes sense. The Lord makes it make sense. It makes sense right there.
So let me ask you, because this is gonna like say a whole lot.
He is judged. I feel judged and attacked right now.
Wings.
Depends on the wing. What we talking about?
What flavor do you eat?
Barbecue, golden barbecue. I eat mild. So I eat fried, of course, baked. I eat name a wing.
Okay.
Most
What about
wings.
fried chicken?
Fried chicken, that's, my blood is Crisco, what you talking
Okay,
about?
alright.
Don't attack my blackness because I don't eat them other things,
I'm just saying. So when you eat fried chicken, what do you eat with it since you don't eat greens?
I can eat fried chicken by itself.
Okay, but sides, like if you have to have sides.
If I have to have sides,
Yeah.
mashed potatoes, macaroni and cheese, white rice, those are corn. Those are you're good. What else I need?
It's like a banquet TV dinner.
I'm on no diet. I'm not counting calories.
So you remember the banquet TV dinner that had the piece of fried chicken, the corn,
Uh-huh.
and the mashed potatoes?
I used to eat them.
And
When I was
then
in
the
college,
little
man.
cake, and then whenever the little brownie would never be done all the way.
Right.
You don't even understand.
And then the mashed potatoes would still be frozen in the middle.
When I'm telling you, when I was in college, those things helped save my life. You don't even understand. Y'all talking crazy. Those things save, well, they just save my life. They save my life.
And you have a wife that cooks.
Mhm.
I can make.
And she can cook well. Yes, you can. God has, Shabbat has blessed you, but He has blessed you only to cook the things that are delicious to my palate. Other than that, I ain't eating it. Now you can cook whatever you want to
But
cook.
but she wants you to enjoy.
I enjoy.
The
See, that's the
labor
problem.
of her
That's the problem. That's the
So
problem.
Master, we are in Atlanta.
Mm-hmm.
Do you eat lemon pepper wings?
I have started to get a slight taste for it, but not too much. Like, so when the first time I tasted lemon pepper wing, it was great. And then I tasted it again, and it tasted like lemon pledge. And every lemon pepper wing I've had since then, from every place I've had since then, tastes like lemon pledge. And so I'm like,
So it's like overly sweet.
yeah. And I'm like, so if I get somebody to back off their heavy hand on it, I might go back to it, but
So you might need to get mild lemon pepper sprinkles.
tried that. Still
Okay.
tastes like hot lemon pledge.
Where did you get it from? Do you
I
remember
can't
where
remember the place I got it from.
Suggest-
Listen, you know how many
suggest a
places
place.
all we do.
Give them a place, like.
All we do is Uber Eats and DoorDash and stuff. What you mean?
What am I cooking? What am I
Listen,
cooking?
you
I
can
know we
cook-
keep cooking the same thing over
You
and
can cook
over.
whatever you want. Your problem isn't what can you cook. The problem is that you expect me to eat everything you cook. I told you what we got before we got married. That ain't what I does. All right. Okay, so now we're gonna go ahead and get started with our topics and whatnot. Well, first we're gonna go ahead and get started with the Real Talk podcast. Y'all gonna see some crazy stuff for a moment. Y'all gonna see me do some points and whatnot. We had a ton of technical issues going on with the equipment, so I just said finally just gonna tape off of the phone instead of the camera that we were supposed to be taping off of. I've tagged some folk in, tagged y'all in as well, so y'all check y'all on Facebook while you go ahead and see it and tag and
I
whatnot.
like, commented, and shared.
Oh, look at you doing stuff like you're supposed to do when you're on the podcast. I appreciate you, baby. I appreciate you.
We got company, don't act up.
No, this is me telling like it is. Like it, as my pastor used to say when I was growing up, not just like it is, like it is, like a TIST is. All right, so y'all gonna see this little point I'm getting ready to do. That's just for me for editing, so I know to insert the intro right there because I don't want to keep looking around for stuff when I do this video edit and I get this rebroadcast back to the YouTube page. What's going on, JC? Appreciate you for stopping in. Appreciate you, son. All right, here go to point. 3, 2, 1.
When you look your best, you feel your best. When you look together, you feel together. Where do you go when you need the right accessories? You come see me. I have everything you need for the colors, for the classics, for the rings, for the bling, for every outfit, for your casual outfits, for your formal outfits, for your work outfits, for your hangout with your girls outfits, for your going out to dinner outfits. Anytime you need the accessories to add that bling to your life, come see me. I am Maya Jordan, and I am the owner of Crown Jewel. You can find me on Facebook at Maya Jordan. That's MayaJordan. Jordan. And I am also on Instagram as Queen Elizabeth Jordan. So the next time you need some accessories or any kind of consulting, feel free to see me, inbox me, or catch one of my lives. Have a great evening.
This is Real Talk Radio. This is Real Talk. High Praise Ministries presents Real Talk. This is Real Talk Radio. This is Real Talk. High Praise Ministries presents Real Talk.
All right. Welcome to yet another edition of the Real Talk Podcast. As you can see, I am your host, Pastor Jesse Jones. I am here, new stage, new crew for right now. Keep Pastor J. Jordan in prayer. He is on his way out to Columbus. He is doing some great things out there in Columbus, as well as Pastor JC, who was on right now. He is taking part on the Real Talk Podcast on Facebook Live. So for those of y'all who don't get the chance to view it, you can always check out the Real Talk Podcast on our Facebook channel when we do it on Facebook Live, as well as our YouTube channel. Now, with that being said, again, I'm your host, Pastor Jesse, along with my lovely, beautiful, vivacious, good to me. She is the fired executive producer of the Real Talk Podcast. She is the one and only Queen Falonda. Say hi to people, baby.
Hi, family.
All right. And we got some very special guests to my left over here. Let me start with the preacher, the powerhouse, amen. Gave a word, hallelujah, and laid everybody and their mama out before service. Mm-hmm. Like she did all her work before service, got up and gave a word, and then dropped the mic and walked away like I ain't do nothing. She's the one and only minister training, Chanelle Thornton. Say hi to the folks, man.
What's going on?
And we have with us, I've got to get my church voice in for real now.
No,
We have with us the illustrious, the powerful, the didactic, you know, preach you intros that's trying to stutter on purpose, the anointing, that he is the one and only Micah Speights. Y'all see your last name right? Speights, Micah Speights. Y'all give my hand clap of praise.
Hello.
So, before we get too deep into it, I know this is your first time here on the Real Talk Podcast. Chanelle has been with us a few times, so here's the house rules. There are no rules. Say what you say, mean what you say, feel it. Be you. We ain't got to be churchy. We ain't got to be none of that. We're going to talk about Jesus a little bit too, but, you know, we ain't got to be churchy. We just, whatever you feel. I started this podcast the way that I did it because I really believe that, especially myself, I'll talk about me. I'm in a place where I can let my hair down and I ain't got to be pastor and I ain't got to be minister or prophet or nothing. I can just be, and also at the same time to address some issues, whether it be within the church or just within the world, period. What things I find interesting. And just address them in a way that most people don't. And since it's my podcast, can't nobody tell me what I need to do on my podcast. So that's how we do it. So feel free, say whatever you say, however you say it, and have fun. Because ain't no sense to keep doing this, we don't have fun, especially as frustrated as I am right now. I'm calming down, though, y'all. I'm calming down. Woosah. Mm-hmm. If y'all remember Anchorman, woosah. All right, we got some great topics on hand with us today. But before we get started with our topics, we'll be right back after this commercial break that Facebook Live won't be able to see because I'm not on StreamYard.
My name is Amanda. I'm the owner of the G-Spot Accessories and More. And I have been doing this since August of 2020. I wanted to start my business because I didn't see anyone else doing what I was doing. I wanted to just step out on faith and make couples happy, other people just spice up their sex life. My business is basically for single people, married people, just anybody. 18, they can be 79, I don't care, but if it makes them happy and pleases them, I'm perfectly fine with it. What separates my business from other competitors are I am very convenient. You can reach out to me at any time. I don't mind meeting you shipping it, just openly to please you. Whatever you need, I'm there for it. So, quality, the toys, they're A1. I have like no problems out of them at all, and other people don't. But everything is just amazing. So my items or products are for everyone, whether you're gay, straight, couple. I have a little bit of everything. Well, I have dildos, I have pocket pussies, I have two-head dildos. Whatever you need, I have it. Where there's pheromone, lubricant. I try to have a little bit of everything. Swings, so just to lighten up stuff and just have your night enjoyable and one you will always remember.
And we back. All right. Don't be just that quick. I promise don't be just those kind of days. I'm about to figure out how to do that with the audio because I'm not stopping this audio either. Normally I stop the audio in between. I ain't doing none of that. I ain't stopping nothing. Took too long to get this stuff set up right. So, all right. So where is my little one? There it is. So our first topic that we had. Oh no, I can just go over here. Right. I had given y'all I know I gotta find the doggone text message. I got 3 different ones in here that I'm here we go. Okay. So our first topic for today, we want to deal with leadership. I figured that this was a great topic, one, because I have a powerful powerhouse pastor on set with me, and I have 2 members of High Praise Ministries who are leaders who just finished the leadership series that I taught. And I figured what a great way to start off this particular episode by talking about leadership. And in particular, some questions arise to me, such as, let's start with, what does it mean to be a great leader? What makes one a great leader? Now, y'all know this is radio. We cannot have that error on radio. That is bad radio. Y'all ready?
So according to our pastor, who taught a lesson, that would be a great servant.
Mm-hmm. You was really churchy with that.
What does
it mean to be a great servant? See, in church you can say you're a servant, and folk know what that means, but we just deal in general. So you talking about a great servant, so I gotta be a slave, but what does that mean, be a great servant? I'm your butler, I'm your maid. What, my outfit over here?
No, just being,
Florence?
no, just being willing to help, like, be able to help out if there's things that you see that needs to be done. So, if there's something where, maybe the kids in Sunday school, they need some additional help. You can volunteer with that. If your pastor or someone, that may need some assistance with coming up with different ideas on how maybe a certain program they want to start in the church. I mean, there's different things, for being a servant or being available to help, in with leadership. You hear me or no?
Okay. Yeah. That's why I had to do a check.
Yeah, there's when you talk about being a great leader, I think in some ways it's not always objective. Sometimes it's subjective, because I personally feel that if you're a great leader, there are results. If you call yourself a leader and there are no results, there's nothing you can point to that shows that there are people that have bought into you as a leader to help you accomplish it, then maybe leadership skills aren't that great. And understand there's always a building process as a leader, but if there's no evidence of your leadership, then maybe you're not a great leader. If you can't inspire people, you can't motivate, have people to buy in, and we don't like to talk about it, but a large part of leadership is personality.
That's a fact.
Because people buy into you as a person a lot of times more than they'll buy into you or the personality of who you are before they even buy into what you're attempting to do. Sometimes it works the opposite, but a lot of times, even if I see a great plan, if I'm not feeling you as a person, it makes it more difficult.
I get that. So there's another reason that I did this. Falonda knows me. There's a statement that I really have never made publicly, that I'm gonna make publicly. It's probably gonna get me canceled. So today's the day that Jesse gets canceled. All right. Because by that logic, and there's a reason that I want to do it, because I feel like we miss it when we deal with leadership, because we have this view, whether you're talking spiritually or naturally, in the church, out of the church, we have this view that misses the boat on great leadership. And a lot of what you said keys into it. So, by your logic and my own, that means that Hitler was a great leader.
He was. And
people hate to say that. He was one of the greatest leaders. He was a horrible person. So for all y'all we're not saying he was a great person. However, I've always felt like if people took the time to study what this man did, aside from the atrocities, we would be able to cultivate greater leaders. This is a man who decided, I want to eradicate an entire group of people and make a group of people that I don't fit. I want blonde-haired, blue-eyed white folks. And I'm a brown-haired, black-eyed white man who's not who has Jewish ties. Mm-hmm. I want non-homosexuals everywhere, and it's rumored that I'm gay. And I'm going to get everybody to follow me. And nobody said, hey, wait a second, Hitler. You don't really fit what you're doing. Yet everybody followed. He had an entire country ready to die for him. Yet we in church can't get people to give $1.
Right. And a lot of that goes into when you have great leadership on you, what direction will you take it? Mm-hmm. Because, I mean, we can look at, even in the church world, there are people who have great leaders. They're great leaders, but it's perverted leadership. Mm-hmm. It's not a godly, righteous leadership. Mm-hmm. So there are people who are blessed to be great leaders, but if you are self-centered or not about people, or a servant, like we talked about, then you lead people down a certain path, because you have, like Hitler, talking about him, he had a great ability to persuade people. And as a leader, getting buy-in, I like to call it, is key. So if you get people to buy in, they will drink the Kool-Aid. Yeah. Mm-hmm. You know, they will follow behind. It's crazy because you have people who are genuine leaders, who are great leaders, that have difficulty getting people to follow their leadership. And it seems like people that's talking crazy and doing wrong stuff, people will write over $1 million checks, sacrifice all kind of stuff to follow behind foolishness.
Me and Pastor Jay Jordan, we say this all the time. Halfway jokingly, we say, what are we doing wrong? Like, there are 1,000 church pimps, either one of us could name off of the top of our head, and a whole lot of y'all down here in Atlanta, who just have no substance, have no authority, no anointing, no word, nothing, but yet are in mega buildings with millions of dollars as a budget. And my boy, Pastor JC, he has a project out in East Point where he's been trying to get a community center out there. And he couldn't get people to give $25,000 total. He did a drive for 4 months that even had favor with the guy who's going to sell him the building. And they extended the deadline 3 times. And he still couldn't get the money to get it. Yet these jokers over here stand up and God said that yogurt is good. And here come all this money. I'm like, what are we doing wrong? It doesn't make no sense.
So this is not a popular opinion. But there are 3 things that I've realized in studying. I was having this conversation with one of my spiritual mentors. Is people love abuse, they love toxicity, and they love trauma. As much as we talk about not wanting it and no toxicity, there are people who will have leaders talk about them up and down, discredit them, disparage them, and they will follow behind even harder. And people know the reputation And they'll have a packed out church every week with thousands of people, and people will give into it just to get beat up, just to get talked about, just to have this toxic relationship that we always say we don't want. But when we have leaders, especially in church, that are loving and caring and are really concerned, it's like, no, we don't want that over here. We want the abuse over here.
So what you're saying is I need to start abusing some of y'all. That's what, so y'all heard, so when y'all see me abusing y'all heard it here. That's what I gotta do.
You doing that?
Due to the fact that, I can tell for these two members of your leadership, due to the fact that we half hood and half holy,
Period.
don't do it.
Yeah.
It's a whole situation.
Y'all can bring y'all's half hood and half holy self over to me. That's okay. Half hood and half holy folk can hit with chairs too. It's all right.
Well, why do y'all think it's that way though? Like, why do you think, when it comes to leadership, if I was mean or always in your face or always, that people will respect you more or they'll gravitate to you more or want, you know what I mean? Like, why do you think people are that way?
Because we don't have healthy relationships.
Yeah, I was just about to say that. Like,
I have a whole different take, so let y'all go first, and I'm gonna jump in. Go ahead.
so like, I was engaged to this guy once, and he had a baby mama, and there was a whole incident between me, her, and him. And she was like, I don't understand it. Like, how could you be with him? How could you be with a man who ain't put his hands on you? Because that's how you know he truly loves you. And I was like, pause, time out in the middle of this fight going on right here. What? I'm like, sweetie, you are very traumatized. I don't know who did it. I don't know if he did it or right. I'm like, I don't know if he did it or this is all the relationships or you grew up in this kind of environment in your home. I said, but that's not normal. That's not normal. But we take that. So if you think about the church is like 90% women at this point, especially the African American church is 90% women. So they are coming from these traumatized households. Like, and they grew up in that kind of a toxic environment and it become acceptable on some kind of level, then wouldn't it be like, it's kind of an easy conversion into, oh, this is just another guy traumatized.
It makes sense, it's comfortable.
Since you said that you go through, because I got a whole a different take. I agree, but I got a different take. But I want to hear y'all's first.
Yeah, no, I just mean that not everybody, but there are those who have had bad parental relationships, absent fathers or not good relationships with fathers, back and forth with mothers, siblings, boyfriends, girlfriends, friends, even friendship. You're friends one day, not friends another day. And so what happens over a period of time, I believe we don't really deal with those things and really allow ourselves to heal. We just move from one bad relationship to the next. So it carries over into who we decide to submit to as a leader because it's a comfortable spirit.
Okay.
So if I have dealt with an abusive person or abusive relationship or people who don't know how to talk to me, if I have a leader who talks to me the same way, I can deal with that because I don't know how to properly be loved. So if somebody's genuinely loving and caring and wants the best for me, I'm like, what's the catch? And I've been in a situation like that where people will look and like, what's the catch? They can't genuinely just want the best for me. They can't genuinely love me. It gotta be something else. But if they see you're blatantly disrespectful, at least I know what I'm dealing with.
I agree with that.
I think Yvette made a really good point.
I'll just break it up.
Oh, okay.
No, go ahead. You go.
That people think that suffering is a part of salvation. I was like, look, Jesus did that one time. You act like he walked around all the time, all his 33 years of life, getting beat up, beat down, verbally abused. He didn't do that. What's wrong with you people? He did it one time.
Well, actually, I was going to go to her where she said most people cannot recognize love.
Yeah.
Because I do believe that suffering is a part of salvation, just not the way that we portray it. We think that this salvation walk has got to be this nice, hunky-dory, beautiful bed of roses type stuff. That's not true. There's going to be suffering, but the suffering that you get is not supposed to come from in the house. Although it was church folk that crucified Jesus and beat the mess out of him. So
It was.
6 and 1 and have together. For me, however, when I deal with in terms of why I think that is, for me, especially in the black church, it's because we have not gotten past the slave mentality.
I can see
We
that.
are used to the abuse. That's all we really know.
The hard task.
So if it's not hard, we don't know it. So I'll put it like this: when in my home church where I was growing up, church around Alabama, Pennsylvania, shout out Bishop Melvin Eugene Clark. Anyway, so one of the things that when he first started, right, he came up well years before I was born, like decades before I was born. So I'm telling this third hand. I heard about this. It came up from Norfolk, Virginia. And when he got there, he was a guy who was not about the preachers in the always have to be all black and the dark dreary type stuff. And like we're talking like the 60s and 70s, big Undertaker brim hat type stuff, driving a Cadillac, and he didn't want none of that. So first thing he did was, I'm wearing a white suit, and I'm gonna have white shoes on. I'm gonna have a car that has color. I'm gonna come and smile, and people were like, "What's wrong with you? That's not how this walk goes. You're supposed to be suffering. You're supposed to be in drag. That's what we're used to." But I've been to enough white churches in my lifetime now I can say that's not how they operate. At least the one, not from my experience. Now there may be some, but the ones I've been to, that's not how they operate. The pastors are normally friendly and they're shaking hands and kissing babies and everybody seems like they're a community. And we get over to our church and it's, "You're going to hell all the time." And that's kind of the kind of vibe that we give because we have not gotten past that slave master slave mentality of this walk. And so everything we see comes through that spectrum. We really haven't been delivered from it. And the messed up part is we take that and we pass that down generation after generation after generation after generation, never teaching anyone what real love is and what it means to have these type of healthy relationships and healthy type of aspects of leadership, healthy type of aspects of marriage, because that also goes into marriage now, because now you get husbands who don't know how to deal with a submissive wife, and a submissive wife doesn't know how, or wife doesn't know how to submit to her husband, because the husband, all he knows is being authoritarian and abusing this stuff, and the wife, all she knows is back talk and not being, it's all because we have not gotten past that first thing of slavery in this country for us. I don't see that in any other culture, including in Africans, to be honest with you. Like genuine Africans, they don't really typically, the churches I've seen of them, they don't have that kind of issue either.
It's a lot of freedom there.
Yeah.
It's a lot of freedom.
Not with us though. We will smack a kid raw if they look at the pulpit wrong. Let alone be free and wave a flag or run. Come on now. So for me, that's where I feel like it comes from. It comes from that type of aspect, and because we just don't want to get past it. It's not even a matter of we can't get past it. We like it now. We like what we're used to, and we don't want to change it. You bring in a path. I'll use myself. Y'all know how I teach. I'm a teacher. I don't hoop. I don't scream. I ain't walking nobody's benches. I'm not putting my hand behind my ear. I ain't doing none of that. That's not what I do.
Never.
Never.
Now you catch on a good job. I mean,
and legitimately, if that's in you, there's nothing, and there's substance behind it, there's nothing wrong with it. But for me, I'm a teaching pastor. I go to some of these black churches, and when they hear I'm a teacher preacher, they're like, so you ain't gonna hoop or nothing? No. And at my first young adult conference, I did the young adult conference in Columbus, Ohio, and it was my turn up. I was closing out the conference. We were dealing with identity and purpose, right? And I started, and now I have a sound, I guess, to my voice. It sounds like I'm getting ready to hoop, but I'm never getting ready to hoop. And it was at the beginning of it. So I'm going to praise the Lord to everybody. Come on, praise the Lord to everybody. For God is great, the praise that you praise. All right, we're going to deal with identity. And so if we don't know who it is that God, and I heard this dude, hold on, no.
He started keying up.
And he got mad at me because I told him I don't do that. And so when I turned my back, I went 3 more sentences in, and he hit it again. I said, dude, I don't hoop. This is not what I do. I teach. I give definitions. You come into high praise ministries, I come into school. This is how but
you are college for yourself.
Right. And a lot of these other places, they can't, not even that they don't want, nothing that they can't, they just don't want to hear solid teaching. And again, it's because it's a matter of we like what we like, and we never want to do anything different because that's just how we're stuck. So the church ain't changing, and or it doesn't seem like it wants to change, and people aren't going to necessarily change with it because this is what we like. It's time out to stop saying that, this is something that's arms. No, you like it. You like getting screamed at and yelled at and verbally dressed down across the pulpit or in areas where you like that stuff.
I think because when you have a lot of, say, seasoned churches, and the members are, say,
What kind of season we use? I'm
Okay.
talking Laurie,
We
talking
talking-
Pepper, what kind of? I'm just asking.
Old school,
we
onion
talking
powder.
old school.
You can't have no onion powder. You will die.
That's what
We
I'm
talking
doing.
old school. Some and I know I'm a youngin', but just being in church and being around certain people, a lot of the older ones, like you said, they were taught a certain way. You had to fear. It was like a fear was placed in you when it came to the pastor. You didn't question God, you don't question your pastor. Like, it was one of those things, and it was like a reverence, but it was in fear to where they felt like it had to be a certain way. Because if not, it would be repercussions at home. Like, certain things that my great-grandmother was a school teacher, my mom's grandma, and she was but she was a school teacher. So, and she came from the South. So it's one of those things where I feel like, in that regard, even though now they want things to change because you got some of us who are a little bit more, we know who we are. We're coming into our own. We're more free in it. They see it, but they don't want us to be that way because they feel like, hold on, that's not how we worship God around here. That's not how we reverence God around here. You gotta do it this way. Well, it's like, no, you don't. You can actually do it this way and be free in it. So that's just what
I was amazed at like some of the reflections when people, after I taught my last semester, they was like, so let me get this straight, reverence isn't fear, like I had never heard that. I was like, wait.
Because you think it's fear, like you've been taught, like certain things you've been taught as a kid, like in order for you to show reverence or honor, it's a fear that comes with it as well. And I'm like, does it have to be that way? But a lot of times you're taught that, like.
Right.
Yeah, because like even when you think about old school church, especially in the black church, that fear came in. Like if you were a woman and you crossed the threshold of the church in some pants, it was like you would get struck down by lightning.
Yeah.
You had no reverence for the house of God. So you don't have a fear of God. Like you couldn't do it. Like have on some pants.
And don't have no lipstick on.
Red lipstick and nail
Or
polish.
pink.
Yeah.
You don't do nothing.
Lipstick it all, nails. Because I grew up Church of God in Christ, so lipstick it all, nails it all, hoop earrings. You have the studs, can have the big hoops.
Better be have some pantyhose on.
Not just pantyhose. You also had to have a slip on. Your dress had to be past the knee. All of that. You couldn't have the shirt. Your dress had to be past the knee. You could all your shirts had to be here maybe about this much. That's about it. You couldn't show shoulder. Like it was a whole bunch of craziness. And I got old and I started thinking about something. So what does that have to do with salvation? I don't recall any of this to have to do with salvation. I don't understand. So Jesus doesn't like fashion?
I remember the first time, like so I didn't grow up in church. I come from,
You're so blessed.
I come from a very much heathen background. So I didn't grow up in church. So by the time I got to church, like I got saved at 19. So like we started going to church. Like my best friend took me to church, and she was like, okay, so now like you will wear your skirt and then try to make sure you dress appropriately. I was like, some of my skirts are not appropriate. Some of my skirts are not meant to be appropriate. I was like, so what does this mean? And she was like, well, we just don't do that. And I was like, but why? I was like, what is the difference? So I wear a skirt that I can just do this. Or I could wear pants where you can't see nothing. Make it make sense. She was like, well, we just don't do that. I said, well, please make it make sense to me though. Why? And she never did explain why. I was like, look, I don't trust that. I was like, those subtle things I could just never get on board with. And then like by the time I got like really started trying to like do this, I'm like, why? Because I got saved Baptist. I'm like, why is the woman never here? there was like a special podium over there, and then she would come up and she would speak, or like even if she was teaching like Sunday school or something, she would do it over there. She was never allowed here. I was like, and when I asked the question, I'm like, why did you, because women just, we don't disrespect God in his house. I was like, well, what's disrespectful? He made me. I don't understand. Please tell me answers that actually, like, is this in the Bible somewhere that I can't see that? Like, at least give me something.
Right, and one was never preaching, she was speaking.
Yes.
Right.
Right, you know, our inspirational message.
Literally, that's where I stole it from. When I was running from this, because I ran for a while, I used to tell people, I don't preach, I'm a speaker. And then I'm just speaking, I'm not preaching it, I'm just speaking. And JC, you're hilarious. JC said, is talking about my shirt, said I got on one of the shirts like people wear on their football uniforms. You will leave my official High Praise Ministries authentic gear alone that's available at zazzle.com/DA_REV. You gonna leave it alone. No, man, I'm gonna get that cheap money. Listen. He just mad right now because I ain't got no shirts in his side, but that's okay. But this is what it's those things that baffle me in terms of how we operate and how we choose to continue to operate. I'm wondering, when are we going to learn? Because the truth of the matter is, if you take most of those abusive type settings, even from the past all the way up to now, how many of them work? How many of them have real, legitimate legacies that go beyond the length of time the building has been erected?
They typically don't, unless someone takes on the mantle of abuse and understands the psychology
behind it.
of the leader they came up under. But most of them, whatever they have dies with them. The church scatters, the people scatter, because the personality no longer exists in that environment. But it's very rare. There are a few who understand and can carry on, but most of them don't carry on beyond that person.
And for me, that's what makes it bad leadership. Because again, I love to call him the anointed midget. It's my favorite name for him. Dr. Curtis Lewis, he's no longer with us, but he was a powerful, outstanding man of God, an outstanding praise and worship leader, outstanding psalmist, the whole nine. And he taught me something really early. He used to always say, success is not success without a successor. And so I take that and I'm like, so all these other places, all these other churches, all these other pastors, all these other leaders, where it dies with you, you're not successful. If the ministry stops with you, was it really ministry?
I'll say, speaking of the black church, because that's what I'm most familiar with, we have a problem with succession.
Oh my God.
For sure.
It's detrimental because most churches, like you say, can't live beyond a leader because there's no succession plan in place. I happen to be a beneficiary of succession. And there were very deliberate conversations, even though I didn't know succession was coming when it was coming. But that was one of the things we always talked about. And I see more churches, I think, now have succession plans. You see leaders passing on their ministries while they're still alive, while they're still functioning. Because, back in the day, the leader would be 90 years old, can barely preach. He's still going to be the pastor. You're not giving up leadership. You're not passing it on to the detriment of the ministry. But a large part of that is that there's this David Saul thing that prevents succession from happening. What is that? I have this leadership and it's all about me. And I know this next person is anointed for leadership. I see it on them. But because of popularity and because I'm now threatened by them, I'm not going to help. I'm not going to nurture them to be a great leader. So I'm not thinking about succession because I don't want you doing better than me.
It's the me show right now.
Yeah. So I'm going to not give you the tools because what I want you to do is for everybody to be like, oh, he's okay, but he ain't like such and such. And we have a lot of that. And so what has happened, when we talk about leadership, when we talk about succession, what has happened is that we have ill-prepared leaders that now step into a role that they have not been properly trained and mentored into because they served under a Saul. And so either they do one of two things: either that leader snuffs the life out of them, and the light goes out. I've seen it. He goes out, or they get so frustrated because they know what's in them that they step out prematurely and cause a mess. Because, like, I know God called me for this. So as opposed to getting with somebody who's going to groom them and help them, it's like, look, you ain't gonna hold back what God had for me. God called me to pastor, so now I'm gonna start my own church because you're trying to kill me. And so we have two of those things going on, but succession is necessary, and understanding who's next is good leadership. And I served in a ministry where it was not personality driven, and that grooming and that thing happened without me even knowing. So then it was one day, it was like, hey, I'm stepping down, you're the pastor, kind of thing. Will you be the pastor? Like, it was that thing, but there was also training and grooming that was happening for years that I don't think either one of us really realized. And we had succession conversations about how the Black church suffers from not having succession. But the conversations I have with me, like, I've taken this as far as I can take it. I'm not going to hold on to it. There's other things that I need to do. It's now being passed to you to take it where it needs to go from here. And it's rare.
That also, to me, goes into purpose. I'm trying not to go too long on this, but I love topics like this when they get like this. That goes also into purpose. Part of the reason that people hold on to it, you call it the Saul David, I call it the Joshua Moses scenario. The reason I say it that way is because when in the early 2000s, God started to speak to me about the Joshua generation long before there was a popular phrase to say. And he was saying to me, and the way he did it messed me up. I still have to forgive God for this. I'm asleep, and in my sleep, I keep hearing, Joshua, my servant, is dead. Joshua, my servant, is dead. My oldest brother's name is Joshua. So I jump up, like, whoa, what you mean? What you mean my brother's dead? Hold on, what you trying to tell me? No. So go to Joshua chapter 1. Everywhere you see Moses, insert Joshua. I said, okay, so I started to read it. And for those who don't know, Joshua chapter 1 is where they talk about Moses dying and him being dead. Now Joshua asserted. And God kept saying to me, the problem with the church right now is you've missed an entire move of God. I said, what do you mean? He said, right now, everybody's dealing with the Joshua generation. And I've transitioned and moved to the Davidic kingship generation. I said, what are you talking about? He said, everybody's looking at going in and possessing the land. And I don't want you to possess the land no more. I want you to rule over the land. Kings rule. But we miss that because we have people who are not willing to step aside when it's their time to step aside. I said, okay, God, so how does this happen? Because I'm always a why person. He began to show me the reason that it happens is because people like in the Moses generation, they didn't get their start till they were in their 60s. So now they're 70, going on 80, when they should have already well retired or well stopped. They're like, I'm just hitting my stride. So now these 30-year-olds, 40-year-olds who are supposed to take up the mantle, they get held to their 60 or 70. And now they're like, I just got here. There's no way I'm giving this up. And that's the cycle. It's not only I just want to hold on to it, it's I got started late, so I'm holding everybody back until I can get what I need to get out of this.
Right. And that's a very valid point, because there's a couple of organizations I can think of that I won't say the name of, but I believe what's hindering now is that when it comes to leadership, everyone is 70, 80. They won't put anybody in position. I'm talking about even 50. 50's too young. Oh, you're too young to be in leadership. 40 and 30. So now you have these 20 and 30-year-olds who have these great minds and see the world how it is and say, oh, I can see how we can advance this to now appeal to this age and this generation, and they aren't given the opportunity because you have those, like you said, that are 70, 80, 90 sometimes, and they will not move out of the way. They don't want to put anybody else in place, and then unfortunately it's causing some of parts of the church to fade off because it's like, well, this ain't me. Because it worked in the 70s. That was a different on different days. So what you were doing, it spoke to those, and they were young. So you understand that worked for you in the 70s and the 80s. Some churches, if you walk into today, it still feel like 1981. Like you go into a time warp.
Yep.
You're like, did I go on the time machine? But it's like, the Lord the same yesterday, today, forever. Yes, He is. But the methods and how we do things have always changed from the beginning of time. It has never stayed the same. The church is a living organism.
That's right.
And a living organism always changes, grows, develops, expands. And we're trying to confine what we do into 1981.
The thing of it is because the world takes its cue from the church, this is why we have an almost dead president. 2 presidents in a row now. Donald Trump was like 70, almost 80 something on his death.
They're like the same age.
Yeah. No, I think
Trump
Biden's like 4 years older or so, something like that. He's a little older than him.
They're close.
Yeah, they're close. But then there's also Bernie Sanders who was running, who was 3 steps away from the grave. Hillary Clinton who's on her way close. Like, we just keep getting older and older because these people have never gotten their shot.
That's why Barack Obama was so that people were
Breath
like,
of fresh air.
Oh, they were like, oh, but he can't do it because he ain't even lived then. I'm like, this dude is over 40.
Okay. Yeah, Trump is 76 and Biden is 79.
That's crazy.
Biden right now on record is the oldest president we've ever had.
Wow.
Right. And then think about now, President Obama is 61, just 61 now.
This is what we the church have perpetuated this. We started this. There's a preacher I know, I won't say his name. There's a preacher I know right now that if it were not due to illness, he would preach more consistently his church, even though the man preaches in a diaper. Let that sink in.
One of the former churches I belonged to, literally the pastor died in the pulpit. 14 ministers on staff. He died in the pulpit. He said he was, and he did it. He literally, one Sunday morning, died in the middle of service. 14 young ministers he was training. None of them became the pastor. They went out and got another individual and replaced them. And so those 14 who had sat there being trained, and I can speak for one of them, he was like, enough is enough, and he just left.
See, that's an issue too. That's something I don't get. If you are blessed enough to have a leader that that believes in training a successor, and something happens, and you've been there, like you've been there, you know how everything flows and functions, and then they bring in an outside, that makes you feel some type of way because you're like, hold on now, we've been here, and we know how this goes, and we've been getting trained. Whomever out of the 14 of us is going to take over, but it's just a simple fact that we've been here. You go out, that says a lot.
That does.
That does
See,
say a lot.
there's a couple of things, and one, I'm just kidding because it's a whole other topic. One main reason, especially in the black church, you know why these pastors will preach and pastor till they're 80, 90? Because they have no retirement. They have no financial planning. If they stop pastoring, they cannot live.
That's a fact. That's a fact.
So that's a whole nother, I'm going to just get that and leave it alone. But that is a strong reason.
Absolutely. And you know what? Since you did it that way, it's a great place to take a quick commercial break. So, Faith, don't even worry about it. It's not going to be real quick because I'm not on streaming, but I'm going to edit that in for the YouTube channel. But we'll be right back after these messages. If JC was here, he'd say, after these messages.
Hey y'all, what's going on? My name is Marcus, host of Correct Me If I'm Wrong podcast, and I do the show with my co-host Candoria Lier. We are based out of Albuquerque, Pennsylvania. On my show, we talk about pretty much any and everything. You can catch our content on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Anchor, and YouTube. So if you ever get a chance, make sure you check us out. Greatly appreciated. Thank you. Don't forget to smile. It's a good look.
We back. So, all right. I love this next topic. I love this next topic we're going to get into. This next topic came, I won't call her name, but it was a friend of mine on Facebook. She knows who she is. I told her it was going to be a phenomenal topic to deal with. And I talked with my wife, and so she kind of helped me expand the topic so it could be a little longer. Because I was like, if I just ask this question the way she asked it in her post, it's really going to be a yes or no answer with maybe a sentence or two.
Mm-hmm.
But when we expanded the way that she was like, no, let's do it this way. It can be more of a discussion. So I want to talk about, since I think we want to go on from leadership to toxic leadership, let's talk about toxic families. Toxic families and family disrespect.
Lord have mercy.
There's a couple ways we're going to deal with this, and I want to take our time with dealing with it. There's a couple ways that we're going to deal with this. First of all, how do you deal with disrespectful family? And let's put some parameters around what I mean by disrespectful family. Mm-hmm. I ain't talking about your siblings, because we all know how you deal with disrespectful siblings. You punch them in the throat and get on with your day. I'm talking about like your mama, your auntie, your grandmama, your daddy, your grandfather, your uncle. Them ones who you were raised, especially upstanding black people, were raised to respect our elders. How do you deal with them when they are outright, blatantly disrespectful? Here's the second part of the rub, especially now that we're in the holiday season. Because this is the time frame where a lot of families are getting together and doing the family thing, and now you got to see this disrespectful so-and-so. How you deal with that?
Oh, nothing like Thanksgiving Day toxicity.
Just tread lightly, boy. Tread lightly. It's one of those experienced some issues in the past, and how it was handled was very it was handled the way it needed to be. However, in things like that, you just try to keep the peace. You just try, hey, how you doing, such so? Hey, auntie so-and-so. Hey, mom. Hey, dad. Hey, you try to just keep it real because everybody else is around. You know what I'm saying? So you try to be the level-headed one and keep everything kind of here because you already feel it's kind of tight. Like you can't get no air in the room. When certain people walk in, you're like, oh, here you go. We know so-and-so about to come in here. It's about to be some foolishness. Because every time they show up, it's a situation. So you already on guard because all right, y'all just be ready.
Here it comes.
One of them, but you just try to keep the peace the best that you can. And if you see something, just try to swerve around the corner, go in the basement, go outside on the patio, and just kind of stay a distance a little bit.
I'm saying because I know how you deal with it. How you do?
That's a hard question for me because not that my family's perfect, but I haven't really had that scenario.
All the more fun.
So
you get to imagine.
But I will say this though, I think that understanding what you can take and who you can take. I always say this: certain people I can take in small doses.
I know that's right.
Yes,
sir. I'm going to be cordial. However, I'm not going to subject myself to that person very long. Like I can, hey, how you doing? Good to see you. Like I said, and then maneuver, figure out how to, you over there, I'm over here. Never the two shall meet, as much as possible. And without it getting awkward, because I think sometimes when you try to overly compensate, it gets super awkward. And then those person will eventually say something. That's what be like. People always tell me I may not say it, but my face will say it.
Your face just did a whole lot as you were talking about that. I was like, oh, he had a flash. He ain't got nothing, but he had a flash of something.
Yeah. So, but I just think it's one of those things where people have to understand that when we talk about protecting our peace, it's like whatever is necessary, to maintain a certain mindset and maintain peace. You have to do it and forget whatever that people say. Well, I don't understand. That's Uncle so and so, or that's go ahead. Nah, we good.
Yeah, I say, hey, I'm not disrespectful or nothing like that, but I'm gonna move around. I'm gonna go ahead, okay, how y'all doing this evening, this and that, all right, good to see you, and I'm gonna go sit down.
And sometimes you have to be like, what time they coming in? Okay, come at 3.
Right.
I'll be there from 11 to 2:45.
Right.
I done seen everybody, gotta play. All right, y'all, I'll see y'all later.
Mm-hmm.
You gotta go.
Southside Chicago.
Woo! So I love my family, good, bad, or indifferent. I'm one of those kind of people. I've just gotten to this place in my life, in my maturity, that I love my family, but I come from some toxic people. And unfortunately, I have had to deal with this way too much. So in the past, I was the move around. I was like, "Ooh, that sounds like grown folks talking. That sounds like, I don't care. I was in my 20s, 30s. That's grown folks talking. I'm gonna move on out the room." Me in my 40s, though, I am here for it. I am here for it. I had an incident at a funeral, and some family members started bringing up some old stuff, and they brought up something kind of, I'm trying not to say the subject. So they brought up something that happened in the past to a minor in the family, and they made it seem like it was the minor's fault. And I was like, hold on, because it seems like, and I watched this person's spirit diminish. And I was like, whoa, hold on, because what we not about to do is group attack somebody for their trauma. So because I'm a more elevated person, not to say that I'm better than anybody. I was like, but at this day in my age, what I'm not gonna do is I'm not gonna feed that, like we were talking about earlier. I'm not gonna feed that trauma. We're not gonna do that. I said, so look, if we're gonna talk about it, then let's go ahead and talk about it. Let's really address it. We're not gonna address it from a 1950s point of view. We're gonna address it from a right now point of view. I said, what that person did was sexual assault and child molestation. Let's call a thing a thing. The person that you were talking about traumatized a child. Now, how many of y'all want to keep going with this conversation? You do? You feel like you want to keep going? Let's address some of y'all. So we're going to be talking about, I was sitting up there like, Jesus. I was like, look, I'm writing this in. I'm like, as long as we're going to start dishing out people's trauma, let's go ahead and start airing out everybody else's trauma. Who want to go first? Who want to throw stones? Because we could do this. We could do this all day, every day. And it was kind of like, oh, wait. And then my mom, she was sitting there, and she was like, babe, I was like, no, because what we're not going to keep doing is keeping up this cycle of trauma.
I agree.
We're not going to do that. The good thing about, like we were talking about the older church, and this is going to sound real bad, but I mean every word of it. The good thing about, you got those generations who perpetuated this kind of behavior. The one good thing about the pandemic is a whole bunch of them died.
That's true.
It's a whole bunch of them died. We had a whole bunch of older people who carried on this kind of mentality, this trauma, like ingratiating, trying to bleed into other people who have died. We no longer have to do that. We don't have to be those people because we were. Like, I want to go into a place, and we ain't even got to agree with each other, but we still got to love each other and be respectful to one another. So I'm quick to, I'm that right one. I've had to have conversations with, I had one incident with my mother-in-law, God rest her soul. I was like, hey, we're not going to talk about the man that you gave birth to who I'm also married to. I won't allow you to belittle him, because first and foremost, what that does is mean that you didn't do a good job as a parent. Like, and I was like, that's not no shade or nothing. So we're not going to belittle your work ethic as a parent. And he is a good man. Now, he is annoying. Yes, I love him.
I love the shade. It can't ever just be a loving conversation.
It's balance. I was like,
gotta keep it.
Right. I was like, but he is a good man. He is a good husband. He is a good father. He is still a man who is a work in progress. So what we're not gonna do is we're not gonna devalue this person that you created. Like, that's me. I'm the wrong person for the holiday trauma. And worst case scenario, because I enjoy good family dinners. Worst case scenario, because like I said, it is my family. If we gotta come to blows, I'm the first person. I'm like, oh, is this what we doing? Half hood, half holy. Half hood, half holy.
I've literally seen that happen before I tell mine. I think it was Christmas. It's Thanksgiving.
It was Thanksgiving.
We had some family over at the house, which is something I don't like to do. I like to go to other folks' houses so that I can leave. If you come to my house, then you just hear, and I gotta be rude and kick you out.
You want to go home.
Yeah.
Disappear when you want to disappear.
Yeah, unless I go into my room and I get, everything okay? Leave me alone. So, but we had them over, and I'm sitting in the living room. We all watch TV, and Falonda and her brothers and her sister went into the kitchen. I forget why they went into the kitchen. All I know is one of the brothers said some disrespectful stuff, and my mindset was, did you stop my wife? I know. And I started to get up, and I heard Falonda in the kitchen who couldn't see me said, "Don't worry about it, baby. I got this." And the next thing I know, she is putting everybody in the kitchen in their place, loudly. And then said, "If I got to grab a knife and get to cutting, well, then let's go." I'm like, that's what I thought. That's who I married. That's what I did. So when she said she for it, she for it.
I get it though. Like, I get it. I can agree with you saying at this age, I've always been pretty much even tempered all my life. I really have. So for me to get angry, it takes a lot. And
I wish I had those skills.
It really do, but certain things take me to a place. Like my family knows certain things take me to a place because when you're just being an idiot, just a complete utter idiot for no reason, we ain't doing that. We ain't come here for all of that. Not only that, I think sometimes you have the people in your family, they still see you as 9, 10, 12.
Yeah.
This ain't that. With all due respect, but this ain't that. We are grown women now, grown men. We have husbands, wives, children. We are adults in now. And so I think some family have a tendency to still talk to you as though you 7, 12. It's like, hold up, swole up. Now I understand you my elder. I respect it.
Some nerves.
It's one of these like I respect you as my elder and my family, and I love you despite a lot of things. However, you don't have to talk to me in such a tone. You know what I'm saying? You don't have to come at me a certain way. Just talk to me. You ain't got to do all the extra. All that's not necessary. Especially looking at the last couple of years, especially with COVID, we have lost a lot of people. A lot of things has happened. You know what I'm saying? And so people are in a very fragile, delicate space, even more so, I feel, with just being with each other and really understanding that time as a family. Yeah. So when you have some people who still be on trash, you like, I don't have the energy. Yeah. Like at this place in my life, I just don't have it. And I've been like that the last couple of years. I really have it, and my family knows that. The people who are close to me, they know that. I don't holler, I don't scream, but there is one thing I will do. I don't have a problem walking up on you. I've done it. Is there a problem? There's a problem. And it ain't disrespectful or nothing like that, but it's like, hold on now. We ain't doing that. Just simmer. You on 55, I need you at a 2. Because it's not about that. You get so caught up in whatever. You know what I'm saying? You lose sight of the reason why we're here together. And some people just are who they are. Or like I say, hey, sometimes you can walk in a room and just irritate somebody else's spirit just because you are who you are. It happens, I say. Yeah, it happens.
See, y'all all three of you, y'all are so wonderful and I love y'all. I do.
I just ain't
in the illustrious words of the prophet Steve Harvey, he ain't through with me yet. So let me tell you how Jesse is. First of all, I've never been even tempered. I anger quick. I just react slow. Because I'm a planner. Because I want to make sure my actions hurt and stick. And so I don't want to waste this. I want to savor this moment. I want to savor this. So my anger goes into planning, and then my planning goes into action, and my action goes into your life is room. Yes, ma'am.
Do you look to see where the exits are, just in case? Like, you need to know, like, if there's an escape route situation?
But that's a whole other thing. That's because my father's crazy. So my father taught me, side note detour real quick, because she brought up the detour. My father, I love him pieces, miss him to death. My father was a lunatic, and I love this lunatic to pieces. So from the time I was 5 years old to the time I was 16, 17-ish, he was always talking about have situational awareness, always be aware of your surroundings. So randomly, every week, at least 2-3 times a week, my dad would swing on me. Oh yeah. From 5 years old, he would call my name. Hey, Jesse. I turned around and said, watch out there now, and stop. Fist right here. Would never hit, would just stop. And said, see, you weren't paying attention. All the time. My dad was 6'2", 300 plus.
Wow.
And was cat-like sneaky, so he would stealth mode to sneak up on you. Never hear this big man coming. Jesse, yes sir, watch out. Oh! And all the time. So I'm extremely paranoid now. It's hard to get upon me. When he stopped, I was 16 or 17. My boy Russell was at the house. Miss him too. And I had been telling him, my dad's crazy. No one ever believed that this was happening until Russell saw it for himself. So my dad comes home. We're in the kitchen. My dad comes home. He walks past. We're getting ready to go downstairs to go play PlayStation, right? So I forget where we'd gone to. We gone in the kitchen to get something to drink or something like that. And we're on our way downstairs. I said to myself, he's going to do it. This man's going to do it. All right, here we go. I'm psyching myself up mentally. I know it's coming. My dad grabs a TV tray. No joke. Picks it up. Sneaks behind me. Hey, Jesse. I said, yes, sir. As I'm turning around, watch out there now. And this time, he was not going to stop the swing. Because by then, he had taught me how to block and how to maneuver and stuff. So he said, okay, you got 3 choices. You're going to get hit with this. You're going to break your forearm trying to block it, or you're going to duck. Which one are you going to do? Which one are you aware enough to let happen to you? He's going to deal with the consequences after. I ducked, and he was like, you got it. And he stopped after that. Russ was like, so, this is for real? This is what is happening? So I'm paranoid because that's what I'm always aware of, not only the exits. When I go into any place crowded, I'm sizing everybody up. Who's going to be the easiest to take? Who's the hardest to take? Is the hardest person blocking a door or an exit? What do I need to get rid of them? I always have the knife closest to me. If you ever go out with me, you'll see in a restaurant, I always bring the knife into me. Even if I'm not using it, I keep it right by me. So just in case, because I can stab and I used to be able to throw knives real well. I'm that dude. I like my back to walls. I want my back to people. If I got my back to people, I'm constantly looking around. I got great peripheral vision. Yeah, I'm that dude. So that's that portion of it. But at the same time, when it comes to these families, so I'm slow to react because I really just want to hurt real bad. I want you to feel every bit of all the stuff that has happened to me that you're making me feel. Same time, I'm also quick to cut you off. I ain't got patience. I ain't got time. I've always been like this. I don't like you. I don't like people all like that. So I can deal with you not being in my life really easy. Family or not. Once God, especially in the spiritual sense, once God began to show me that everybody who is blood is not family.
That's a real thing.
Changed my life. I was like, oh, so these niggas I ain't got to, oh, okay, cool. A huge portion, and they ain't never gonna say this, and if they do, I don't care. A huge portion of my mama's side of the family, I don't deal with. They didn't like my daddy, and they barely like my mama, and y'all screw with me, so screw y'all. I don't care about y'all what. Y'all do what you do. Y'all who I deal with, y'all know who y'all are. Love y'all, but if y'all get offended, bye. I don't care. I've gone 41 years without most of y'all in my life. I don't need you. I don't, I'm that dude. So I deal with toxic and disrespectful people and disrespectful family the same way I deal with anybody else. You disrespect me, you ain't ready for the mouth that I got on me. I'm going to disrespect you, and I'm going to disrespect you in a way that's going to make you cry. You going to cry hard. This is why I don't do what my wife would hear me, JC and Jay, we go back and forth. I let them bag on me a whole lot more than I ever bag back. And part of the reason is because once I start, I'm not stopping, and I go for the jugular. I don't go for jokes.
That's me. I'm going for the white beat. We
Yeah,
gonna do it.
Y'all over there kikiing and having fun and laughing,
Yeah.
but once I start, I want tears. I really don't want to joke with you. I'm not that dude. So that's how I handled it. I've an issue with my mom. We had some words, and that's my mom, and I'll kill over my mama. To this day, she dead. I still kill over her. Play with me. But we went at it. I told my mom, I was like, look, I love you, but I can go. And I was 15. This wasn't like I was a grown dude. I was 15, risking death, because my mom will kill you. Sandra Allen Jones of Staten Island, New York, she'll take your life.
She's a beautiful little woman who can go a sofa. So.
Yeah. She was not the one. But I felt like she had said some things that were just really out of pocket. And I'm like, yo, I don't need this. I can go. I really can. I was the dude who told my mom at 12 years old, when I graduate high school, I'm leaving, I'm never coming back. I'll come to visit, but I refuse to live here. And it wasn't because I hate the house, I hate the city. I hate Aliquippa. I don't care. I love the team. I love some of the people there. I understand the hardship, but bump that city. That whole city can burn to the ground right now. Most of y'all I would like to see get out. Most of y'all, not all of y'all, but most of y'all can get out and be safe. And I wouldn't care. I really wouldn't. I told 12 years old, I'm getting out. I ain't coming back. And I'm that person. I've always been that. I'll do it by myself. I'll be by myself. I hate to be by myself, but I'll be by myself. Like I don't need you. I have no need for your toxicness, your disrespect. I'm too, and now I'm 41. I'm a 41-year-old, 90-year-old. I am that. I just don't care. I ain't got that kind of. I'm not about to sit up here and have ulcers and high blood pressure and hypertension because you disrespected me and I got to hold it in. No, the devil is a lie. We're going to let this out. I'm going to let all of this out. And then if I go too far, I'll repent later, maybe. May take me a couple of weeks to get to repentance because I got to be truthful about it.
No sense of lying about it.
No,
Like, I meant every word of it.
I sure said.
I meant what I said, but I know it wasn't right, so I'm trying to do better.
No, I ain't trying to do better. I just want Lord to stop sticking these people in my face. You know who you made. Listen, I want to be a great example for you, but one of the ways you can help me be a great example for you is not let these people come in my face. One of my favorite apologies is, I'm sorry you took it that way. I meant every word I said, but I'm sorry how it affected you, but I'm not changing what I said. I meant everything I said. I wish you weren't offended by it, but if you are, toughen up, grow up. I really don't care. Sound like a personal problem to me.
So do you believe in it's not always what you say, but how you say it?
I do. But that's why I make sure the way I say things is very intentional. Not only the words that I say, but the way I say it. So if people feel offended by what I say, oftentimes I meant it that way. I really meant you to be offended. It's
Had enough time to simmer. All the possibilities, all the word choices, sentence structures.
Growing up in my house, especially with my brother Melvin is a wordsmith. And he was a dude who irritated my soul, but only because he was so doggone intelligent. This Negro, when we would play the dozens before I got really vicious with it, he would purposely use dictionary words and SAT words that I didn't know as insults to then make me have to go look up what he said about me because he read the dictionary on a daily basis just to learn words. And so because of him, I started learning words, and then God showed me revelation about words and the importance of words. So I began to really hone in on words and definitions and understand meanings. So I said, so I have to mean what I say, so let me make sure all of my words are particularly put. Okay, now that I have the power behind what I say, let me deal with how you catch it. So my tone is going to make you catch it a certain way. So now let me work on being able to purposely utilize my tone. There are times in arguments I will pause for a second. She's a wisdom. We got this knocked out, drag out. I'll pause for a second. Not because I don't know what I'm going to say, but because I'm really trying to figure out how bad I want to hurt you, what I'm going to say, and what tone I want to use. How much I love you will depend on how long that pause goes. There are some pauses like, and then I'll speak. And then there's some pauses of I'm that dude. This is what I try not to get angry. I try. People think they've seen me angry. There's a quick story that I'll go next portion of the topic because I like this story. She doesn't like the story too much. The movies. When we were first dating.
Little face.
We went to the movies and we took Ashley with us, right? And I forget what movie we went to see, but we got out the movie. And these disrespectful little teenage nigglets decided to be disrespectful. I'm grown. My daddy and my mom were disciplinarians too. I ain't got time to be playing no games with y'all little kids. And one little kid said the wrong thing at the wrong time. And so I got out the car. Because he didn't think I was going to get out the car. And I'm walking up on him like, I'm going to hurt you. I want you to know this in advance. I'm giving you the chance right now as I'm walking towards you to walk away. So two of his boys started walking towards him. And I'm looking at him, I'll kill all three of you. You think this is a fight. This is getting ready to be a funeral. And if it wasn't for her screaming, Chelsea, get in the car! Get in the car! And we hear the terror in her voice, not for her and really not even for concern for me. It was because Ashley was watching.
Yeah.
And so I got in the car and she was like, you cannot set that kind of example for Ashley. And I was like, I don't care who is watching. These little niggas need to learn respect, and what you're not gonna do is disrespect. I'm the wrong one. Your actions have consequences, and yeah, well, so do yours. You're trying to raise someone. How can they be raised well and see that? I don't apologize for it, but I understood it. So, but that's the kind of personality I have in terms of how I deal with disrespectful people. You
But
come
remember,
for
this
you.
is why you never want to come at Ashley like she is verbally very much so her father.
And I love every bit of it.
Like we literally watch him. Jacob, we love you so much. We literally watch him almost go to tears, and I had to stop her. I'm like, you cannot talk to this man who says he loves you in the manner in which you are speaking. I don't care what he say. I push him down the flight of stairs. He don't know who he dealing with, and she just began to. I was like, oh. I was like, wow, that didn't come from me, because I'm not the kind.
Toughen up.
Like, I'm not the kind, like, I can only go for so long with words.
Yeah, that's also true. When she goes silent for real.
Yeah, I always tell people, I was like, by the time, when I stop talking, run. Don't walk. Run.
This is why we make such a great couple.
Put the choices aside.
We love funerals. So here's part B of the disrespectful family topic. This is her actual post. So when you are with someone, how do you expect your partner to handle dealing with the disrespectful family member that's disrespectful to you? So if you cut them off, should they also be required to cut that family member off?
Oh.
Man.
Okay, so scenario. So my sister cusses you out. It's a whole thing, and now you can't no longer be in the room with her. Do I need to stop talking to my sister if you're saying something like that?
Well, it's kind of the reverse. So your sister cusses you out,
Oh,
your
okay.
sister, and you stop
I
talking to her.
stop talking.
Because it's your family.
You talk to me.
Yeah, should I still, because technically she's still my family, but she ain't. And you can go the other way around as well, but you know.
I just think, and I may be a little different, I believe that people have their own relationships with people and their own perceptions, whereas me and a family member may not get along, they may be okay. I'm fine with that. Y'all ain't gotta include me in whatever, as long as there's no blatant disrespect to me, you know what I'm saying, or y'all ain't teaming up. But hey, if you wanna still talk to my, cousin or whatever that I don't talk to, that's fine. We just don't get along. It ain't saying they're a bad person. But I just feel like it's that relationship, and I'm not gonna dictate how they interact or don't interact.
I'm different, cut them off. And the reason I say that is because House of Pain. You get scenarios like that. So I don't know if y'all watched House of Pain or have watched. It's off now, but it's on BT Plus. We're gotten into the later seasons now where Miranda and CJ, not CJ, whatever the black boy's name is, they're now divorced. But Miranda keeps coming around the house.
The ex-wife.
Why are you coming? You got your own family. Deal with your own. Like, they're, and interestingly enough, I'm different as it relates to friends than I am family. If I cut off a friend, I don't care if you're dealing with that friend or not. But if I cut off family, you gotta cut them off too. Because that the depth of the disrespect that caused me to cut family off has gotta be something so major for me to say, I'm done with you. That there's no reason that if we're trying to build together, whether we're in a relationship or we're married or whatever, we're trying to build together, there's no reason to allow this toxicness. If you see this person as a snake, how can you say that you are cool with someone who has blatantly tried to destroy me? So for me, and I'm cool with you know, everyone who deals with it. However, I just know for me, I cut off family. You can't talk to them. The only caveat is, since we're married, is if I cut off one of your family members, you can still talk to them, just don't talk to me about you talking to them. Because that was your family first.
Right.
But if I cut off Josh and Mel, which I ain't gonna do, if I ever cut them off, and I see you talking to them, we might have some issues. Because the level has got to be so, it's got to be so great that I'll cut off a friend for whatever. You two go wrong, I might cut you off, I don't know. But family, so it's a whole different level. I feel like because of when you're talking how close family is supposed to be, whether you're talking parents or siblings or cousins or whatever, there's the assumption of a close kind of relationship that in order to cut off, it's got to be big, so that if the person that I'm trying to have a closer relationship with, to go forward in life with, is still dealing with them. My question is, well, who else are you okay with being disrespectful to me? Now, if you're trying to repair the relationship, that's one thing, and even then, I'd rather you not do that. But outside of that, if you'll deal with the person who disrespected me, I'm telling you, I'm no longer dealing with them. Who else are you going to be okay with infiltrating and disrespecting and hurting me? That's just me.
Because you'll look at it as, okay, well, my partner is allowing, because I'll make sure I'm understanding this right. My partner is allowing their people to disrespect me. So, and it's okay, maybe trying to smooth it over, or oh, it's not that bad, or, you know, they just like that, or whatever. But then it goes further, and it could be like, you know, some of my girlfriends, you know, they come over and we all hanging out, okay, you know, all of that. And it's like, yo, you just let people talk to me all crazy? So then it makes me question you, because it's like, so you're just going to allow your family and, you know what I'm saying, your friends to disrespect me, so how do you view me? Because apparently you don't view me as any type of worth or any respect in that regard either, because if you allow your family to come at me crazy, and now you got, you know, and it goes further than that, then how do you view me? Because I'm with you.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, that's,
Yeah, we're not gonna make it in a relationship if I find out, you know, your family and friends disrespect me, and then once I address it once, if it happens the second time and I don't watch you address it, I mean, I need to see you address it. If you don't, chances are we're not gonna make it in a relationship.
The reality is, it shouldn't even have to be you watch the I should address it immediately. Like, so, again, in terms of building, so let me clarify. When I talk relationship, I'm not just talking boyfriend and girlfriend for the sake of being boyfriend and girlfriend. I'm talking about if you are boyfriend and girlfriend, you're building, looking to be married, or you are married. Those are the kinds of relationships I'm talking about. I ain't talking about these new age, we talk, we boo boo, yeah, I ain't talking about that. So if I'm looking to build something with you, how can I build with you if I can't trust you to maintain the parameters we have? Disrespect is an attack.
Mm.
So we cool with folks just attacking me now? That's what this is. We're okay with infiltration attacks. I know it's my family, but we cool with that now. That's what it is. You are not that hard up for friends.
Mm.
And if you are that hard up for friends, the Bible says, since we could be churchy, but the Bible says he who wants a friend must first show himself friendly. So go find some friends. All kinds of ways you can find friends. Jump on Facebook. Start just randomly friend requesting folks. You can find you a friend. It don't got to be the people that are right now set up to attack me. Same time, it's the same mentality that I have, however, with like taking relationship business to family.
Mm-hmm.
Because whatever we make up, you still got animosity because you don't know about the makeup. You know about the fight, and all of a sudden you see it together, and you weren't in how that makeup happened. To me, it's the exact same kind of a thing. I got issues with them. You may not even understand why I have issues with them. Just know I got issues with them. I ain't dealing with them right now. So I need you to take a step back. I'm drawing a line. Hey, choose a side. Which one you gonna be? You gonna deal with them? You gonna deal with me? Because you can't do both.
Mm-hmm. That's why, as far as I've ever gone in relationships, like typically you don't know that person is trash until after we done broke up. Like it has to get to the point where I'm fed up enough with you, then I'll start to, I'll spill some tea. I'll be like, look, so-and-so did this. By the way, I think he's bisexual. What?
Whoa. For the record, she is not
him. I was saying, like, in the past, but I'm not going to, because first of all, like, look, if nothing else, I need to make sure that my face is covered. So it's not even about you. I'm not going to let you know that I'm dating some trash dude. But yeah, I've just never been that person. So, like, sometimes, like, your family, and unfortunately we end up in positions like this, sometimes your family is just looking for an excuse.
Mm-hmm.
To air some stuff out. Like, when I broke up with one of my exes, I swear everybody, including his mama and his stepmama, was like, look, let me tell you about him. This dude is trash. I was like, no, you wait till after we broke up. Yes, you had no business with my son. I was like, whoa. My cousin was like, yeah, I ain't never liked that dude. I was waiting for one time for him to just say something I felt like was slick and I was going to punch him in his mouth. But I ain't want to just like disrespect you. I'm like, whoa. My mom was like, yeah, I secretly hated him. What?
Told me.
I'm like, at some point, somebody should have said something before blood was drawn. Somebody had to say something.
Do you know all of her stories? There's somebody almost dying, or hospital blood.
Look, there can be no remission of sin without shedding blood.
Just hoping you.
That's what we're doing.
Pastor, are you praying for me? This is what I live with. Are you praying for me? I need it.
It's your fault. You the one told me I need to study the word. It's your fault.
I thought studying the word would let you be less violent. She found ways to justify it. Jesus.
It's in the word. It's in the word. It's in the word. But I've also had situations where I was the, so me and my daughter's biological father, by the time I was done with the relationship, I was like really done with the relationship, but we had a child. So guess what? We still family. Mm-hmm. Me and you are not together, but we are family because you decided to bring this person into the world. So I ain't going nowhere as long as she wants a relationship with her family. So I was that chick. I would show up. Like he was like, you in Chicago? I was like, yeah, I'm in Chicago with your daughter visiting her grandmother. You at my mama's house? Yes. You didn't even have this conversation with me? I don't need to. I don't need to. I feel like I really don't. Like I've always been that person. I'm like, look, no, this is her family. Right. This ain't even about me. Trust and believe.
It ain't us. It is not an us thing.
It's not.
It's about the baby.
This is her family. He was in jail, and I went to go to his baby mama because he had gotten another girl pregnant afterwards. I was like, hey, look. And to this day, I call her my sister baby mama. I'm like, look, we got kids by him. Our kids are siblings. They are sisters. At the time, it was just the two of them. They are sisters. So we could not like each other. We both know the reality of the situation about what happened with the three of us, because it happened at the same time. I said, we all understand that. I said, well, we grown.
Right.
And so this is her family. You are her family. and therefore we are all family, and we will get along together.
I love the veiled threat. You will get along
We
together.
did. We went to a park. We
As if
had a
there's
play
an or else
day.
at the end of it.
There was no or else. We
It didn't have to
will.
be. No, it didn't have to be. Because you're right. But that's the type of situation is also very, very different. That goes to me more to where I'm okay with Micah's point of view, where it's you have your own relationship, and it's because there now is a child involved. The child can have the relate because the child needs that attachment, that understanding of family. I'm talking about grown folk though. And grown folk, if you're grown, you don't need that kind of attachment to my family, nor do I yours.
Oh, after she turned 18, I was like, yeah, do what you want. I wanted you to make sure that you knew that this is a part of your DNA and this is who you came from. Now, I no longer have to step in. If I have to step in, typically it is because someone has disrespected her to a level that may require prayer or hands. Either or.
Either way.
She loves giving them both.
Either or, like, cause me and her biological father, we had an incident. He was like, you know, he said some stuff that he had no business saying, like disrespectful to her. And I was like, whoa, hold up. I know she grown, she got a phone of her own, she can talk to you. I said, what you're not gonna do is disrespect her at all. And I read him. I was like, and now say something else. I was like, cause I'm not the one. I told you I was not like any of these other chicks you ever been with. I'm not the one. I was like, I will air all of your business out. I was like, trust and believe, I still got some. I got some more in the trunk. What you want to do? You want to do this? Like, right? What do you want to do?
And y'all know she's blind, she can't see, so she gonna shoot. She shoots everything and everybody.
I used to be a lot better though. This is older age.
Spray them a lot.
Right.
For real.
I'm just look. I'm gonna give you one. I'm gonna do like Michael K. Williams did in The Wire. I'm gonna give you warning. Once I show up on the block, if you don't want to get shot, go inside.
Yeah, I just really believe that. I really like. I really believe that there is a line. As long as we trying to build, it's got to be us first. It legitimately does. It can't. If it's not us first, like
Gang.
Right.
Yeah.
You gotta protect your house first. You know, I've learned that. You have to make sure y'all here and really understand, like, yo, I got you, you got me. What we doing? You know what I'm saying? It's one of those things, and I agree about having boundaries and really being in line with one another. Somebody get out of pocket, like, oh, when you doing that? Vice versa. Like, you know, I'm in a relationship, somebody steps to my dude all kind of crazy. Hold on. We ain't doing that. You know what I'm saying? So you have to have that understanding with one another, because if you are trying to build, you really gotta make sure y'all tight. Before y'all gotta be tight. Y'all house y'all gotta be tight, because anything else outside, if it ain't lining up with what y'all really trying to have going on, it's gonna be a problem. Flat out, family included. It don't matter. Friend, family, mother, it'll always be some type of something. So y'all really have to be locked in. Y'all really gotta be locked in.
Let me add one last thing before we go to the banter. It hit me as you were talking. I like this one. So, if your spouse, boyfriend, girlfriend, relationship person, if they're wrong, do you still defend them, or do you side with them?
I'm gonna check that.
Yeah, if you wrong, you wrong.
But I feel like you address it not in front of everybody.
That's what I
Like later on, get in the car at the house, you're like, I get it. I don't want to like overstep, in that, I don't want to do that. But however, you're wrong, right? This X, Y, Z like you could have handled that better. I think you need to apologize. Or I think it's all in a way of handling it. I think when you understand your partner, then you gotta kind of like view it, make sure they don't go too far. Like, hey, don't go to the trunk. You know what I'm saying? But then later on, it's like, hey, let's talk about this. And I think that's where you have that trust in each other, where they're gonna listen and be like, you know what, maybe I was.
And that's something I think is also a tremendous lost art. And I'll tell you why you sparked that when you kept saying gang. I was starting thinking about like in a gang, I'm fighting for you regardless. And then typically if you wrong, once all of this is over, now you just got me into a fight I didn't need to get into. And this is your fault. You was absolutely wrong. Like, you need to go back and apologize or whatever the case may be. Like, I started thinking about that and I was like, well, I almost want to go back to the old time. Not in practice because they was nasty. Just nasty. But there's a mentality behind it. It was more so your name had more weight to it.
Yep.
We would be the House of Jones. So everybody under the House of Jones was guarded and protected by the House of Jones, regardless as to what was going on. Anything outside the House of jones could be considered an enemy. And once that enemy was dealt with,
everybody knew.
You made me go to war over this. I'm gonna go to war for you. But you need to chill. Because I can't keep doing this. Like, it's got, to me, that's part of building. Like, especially when you deal in terms of marriage, like the whole principle of forsake all others and cleave only, we deal with it in terms of extramarital affairs and stuff like that, but legitimately, it's everybody else who's not you two comes second. Everybody, mama, dad, brother, friend, all of them come second to your spouse. So I got an obligation to defend you like I defend me. I got an obligation to fight for you like I would fight for me. And I don't know about y'all, maybe I'm just still immature and still trying to get a little better, but there are some arguments that I have gotten into midway through the argument. I realized I'm wrong. But I'm gonna go ahead and finish the argument out because I'm already too deep in it. I'll come back and apologize later, but I got to finish this argument out first because even while I was wrong, you said some stuff that made me mad, so we're going to keep this argument going. And then when we stop arguing, I'm wait about 5 minutes and say, you know what, I was wrong, my bad. Like, I feel like that should also kind of be the mentality. I can see, even if in the disrespect, you was wrong. But what you ain't going to do is talk to, hold on, you're not disrespecting it, because when you disrespect her, you disrespect me, and I don't tolerate disrespect. So what we got to do, we're going to calm this stuff down. You need to take a step back. We going to go, no, baby, why'd you do that? I need to go back home.
That's the right thing to do. That's the right thing to do. Y'all handle it. Like, you don't do it in front of everybody. Simmer the whole situation down, leave. Y'all deal with it when y'all get in the car on the way home. Like, you was out of pocket. You was way out of pocket.
We have experienced that, taking other people's issues.
Y'all who are fans of the Real Talk podcast, y'all have heard the story a bunch, but y'all gonna hear it again because Micah has never heard the story. And I'm not sure if Chanelle has heard the story or not.
Probably not.
But I know Micah's never heard the story, and I love telling and hearing the story. So you want to tell? You want me to tell it?
Go ahead and tell it.
So this is how it happened. So we were at her friend's house. Her friend, who I didn't like anyway. I really didn't like this chick. But it's her friend. She never said nothing to me, so it wasn't like, I had any, some folks are spirit, you just feel like, you look out you're a piece of trash. I ain't, that's how I feel about her. And later on, she got mad because I called her out for being right. Never called her out to her face, though. Never said to her face. I just knew some things about her. And she didn't know how I knew. And I was like, God told me. And you made the mistake of asking me. It's your fault. Because she didn't believe that I was a prophet. And then she asked me, what do I see? I said, are you sure you want to know? Yes, I want to. So I told the hoe she was a hoe. But anyway, but it's long before then. So we were at her house with her husband. And Falonda and this chick, they take off to go. They're supposed to go to the store to go get like 3 things. and me and the husband were gonna sit in the house and talk, because we didn't really know each other. So this would be a good time for us to kind of, and I don't have a whole lot of friends, period, because again, I don't like people.
He's a minister, you're a minister. We figured
They try to play date me. Like,
yeah.
you know, I'm 7 years old. That's funny, but and he's just dry and just, but anyway, yeah, just, one of them, I didn't take the stick out.
Churchy versus just being himself.
Yeah, just chill.
And I'm churchy, like I am probably one of the churchiest people will ever meet, but I'm not overtly churchy. Like my constant conversations always, I'm finding ways to allow Jesus in some way or another, whether it be in a joke and something, and he come in this conversation, doesn't matter. But it's not like let's open the Bible and read John the 3rd chapter, verse 74, and the Bible says, I don't believe in allowing my children to watch television because
dude.
they
I've
need to
known
be
him longer than
meditating
his
on God.
wife. Like he a hood dude. I'm like, just be you.
I could not tell he was hood. He heard I was a minister, and all of the niggas Southside Chicago hood without it.
He's code
switched. And what made it worse is he code switched Baptist. And I got nothing against Baptist because I've mentioned the Baptist churches. I love Baptist folk. I've mentioned all kinds. I've done almost all the denominations. I grew up Church of God in Christ. So if you go code switch was something I'm a little more familiar with. I didn't spend that much time in the Baptist church to really know the nuance. So he code switched smooth Baptist. And, I try not to let my children watch too much television because I want them to be raised right in the Lord. And so they're upstairs right now spending time, hopefully, reading their Bible. But we can go ahead and watch the game and that type of stuff. We had nothing to talk about for like 30 minutes. It was just basically silent. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, some other nigga comes out of him. He said, "Where's your wife?" And I looked at him and I was like, "The same place yours is." What you mean? They went together. Well, they was only supposed to be at the store for like, and it shouldn't take that long because the store's right down the street. I said, "Well, I'll be back when they're back."
Should have been a 30-minute trip. It was 3 hours later. We ain't gonna talk about what had happened while we was
Don't want to know, not my business.
But here's the thing. I'm not that dude. First of all, I'm not a jealous dude. I'm not, none of that. It's just not in my bones. I don't. One or two things will happen. Either you'll come back home to me or you ain't. Like, I ain't got no control over it. You come back home to me, I win. And, I pray this stuff don't happen again. Like, that's how I am. Y'all don't get it twisted. I ain't saying that means you can walk up on her. Because I promise you, you won't walk back. You'll walk up, but the graveyard coming for you.
It was not me doing.
I'm not saying it was you. I'm just making
it caused us to be 3 hours.
I'm not saying it was you. I'm just making a statement plain. I'm just making it plain. So, but that was my mentality. I'm not gonna be checking up on her. She grown. She gonna do what grown folks do and make a grown folks decision and live with grown folks consequences. Like I have no control over that. So why would I do me a favor, just call her and see where my wife is at. They together. Well, my wife ain't answering her phone. Well, that's your problem, bro. I don't know what you want me to do. So I called, and then she answered. Quick too. He had called his wife like 5 times, and she never answered the phone. I called once, and the phone was like, "Yo, what's up?" It was like the second ring. Hey, baby, what's going on? Hey, I don't really want to. I almost said his name. Dude is over here tripping. He is really upset that y'all ain't back here. You know how long y'all gonna be? Yeah, it'll probably be another 30 minutes. All right, take your time. I don't care. Hold up. I told him, "Hey, you're gonna be another. What you mean it's gonna be another 30? What you doing?" I didn't ask all that because I don't care. She told me she out the store. As far as I know, she out the store. I don't go looking. If God ain't told me and she ain't told me, I don't care. Call me crazy, it's just me. So, almost 3.5 hours later, they come back. I'm cool with it. I'll say, "Y'all happy? You good? All right, cool." Her and him, though, got into it. And when I tell you, it was the most uncomfortable fight I've ever seen in my life. First of all, because I don't know these people. I have just basically I've seen the wife 3 or 4 times hanging around Falonda. First time me meeting the husband. And they going in. Like we're not even there kind of in. And she's known both of them years. And we gave each other that look that, "You ready to go? Let's get up out of here." Kind of look, just a look.
Alright, I'm out.
Just go 2 hours.
And so we get up and start walking towards the door, sliding our way out while they're still fighting. Just like for kind of reference sake, they're as far from us as the camera is from us right now. And we're sliding towards the door. We get out the door. We get to the car and we start fighting. No clue about what.
To this day, we can't tell you what we fought about.
We don't know.
We don't know.
Literally, it was we got out the door, got to the car.
All I remember is, like, dude is off, like, unhinged. Like, why did that happen? And I'm like, I can't explain to you because we're still new.
Yeah.
And birds of a feather flock together. So I couldn't explain to him where I was because that would have aired her out. And she's still my best friend. Ain't my job to say that. It ain't my place.
So we drive back to the house. Still fighting. It's a 15-minute drive back to the house. About 10, 15 minutes, that's right. Non-stop fighting. Get to the door. Still fighting. Get in the house. Still fighting. No clue when this fight is over. We just going at it. She decides, I'm going to go sleep in the bedroom. I'm normally a dude. I'm not sleeping on the couch. You mad. You so mad you can't sleep with me. Take your behind the couch. I'm going to be comfortable. But I was mad enough that day, I'm taking the couch. I don't even want to look at you right now. She slams the bedroom door. I'm in the living room on the couch. I'm asleep. She's asleep. Wake up. Papers everywhere. Coffee tables turned over. The cabinets to the kitchen are open.
The cabinet
and
doors
the canned
open.
goods
And
are
the
on the floor.
refrigerator is open.
Paper trail leading all the way to her door. So I was like, I know this so-and-so didn't just tear this doggone house up for no reason while I'm sleeping. How hard was I asleep that I ain't hear nothing's going on? She done lost her rabbit mind. As I'm saying this in my mind, she opens the door and sees a paper trail and is thinking the same thing.
I know he did. Where's my
all the South Side Chicago came
Where's
out.
my, I know he.
And this is
You done tore
before.
my house up?
For some of y'all who know Falonda's story, this is before she got really saved. So all expletives and a whole bunch of other stuff was coming out too. I don't know, and I'm looking at what? Why you tear up? I just woke up. No, you had to. I said, I didn't do nothing. That was you. Stop trying to act like I did what you did.
Melting in my
I ain't do nothing. You saw me just come out the bedroom. I said, well, check this out. I didn't do it. And you saying you didn't do it. Somebody did it. We need to pray. We need to pray right now because this is just out of hand. Whatever was on there followed us home and physically tore up the house.
This is Real Talk. Real Talk Radio. This is Real Talk. High Praise Ministries presents Real Talk. Real Talk. This is Real Talk. Real Talk Radio. This is Real Talk. High Praise Ministries presents Real Talk. Real Talk.